my channel and Happy New Year. Can you actually still say that even though it's sort of the end of January? Happy New Year and back to filming. I'm so sorry I've kind of been MIA. If you follow me on Instagram and the blog, I've been posting a lot more there, but I've just kind of been away from this channel for a while, just because I just started doing my masters, so it's been kind of busy and I haven't had a lot of time to film and edit. So I wanted to come back today to talk about something that I get asked about a lot, which is fashion school. You know, is it worth the money? How hard is it to get into fashion school? What's it like? And all those things. For some of you who don't know, I went to fashion school for a year just after finishing my undergraduate, and I went to Condé Nast College. And today, we're here to spill the tea on the scam that is fashion school. No, I'm joking. It's actually not a scam. It was a great experience. But before we get into all of that and all the pros and cons, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Okay, so let's throw back to about 2015, about April 2015. I remember I just submitted my final dissertation and I just finished my final year exam, and it was like 2 weeks to my 20th birthday, and I realized that I'm about to graduate in a month and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what to do. So around that time, a lot of people who were finishing their undergraduate were either going on to do a master's or they were getting jobs and things like that. And I knew I didn't want to work in the field that I studied. I did a degree in economics, and I knew that that was not what I was passionate about and that's not what I wanted to do. And I didn't know whether a master's was right for me at the time. So I spent a lot of time, you know, thinking and researching and trying to find, you know, what I wanted to do. And I knew that I wanted to work in fashion, but looking at fashion jobs and things, I knew that I didn't quite have the right skills. And I also didn't know the exact area of the fashion industry that I wanted to go into. So it made the process of, like, you know, applying for jobs in fashion a little harder. So after doing my research for a little while, I decided that fashion school would be the way to go, because I sort of wanted to build on the right skills that I'd need, and kind of figure out what area of the fashion industry I was most passionate about. You know, I like design, but I also like the commercial side. And, you know, I was interested in lots of different things, and I liked writing. Obviously, I had my blog, so I didn't know whether I'd be more interested in journalism, like fashion journalism, or fashion buying, or fashion marketing, or fashion design. So I wanted an opportunity to explore all those different things, which is why I decided to go to Condé Nast College of Fashion. I know there were loads of other places that I applied to, like LCF. I know they had a short courses at Central St. Martin's and things like that, but they were all very focused on one subject. So when I applied to LCF, I applied for the fashion design diploma. When I looked at, you know, St. Martin's as well, it was also design based. But when I found Condé Nast, they offered me a range of different topics in the fashion industry. So they did journalism, styling, fashion business, fashion marketing, fashion buying. It was a load of different things that I was curious about, so I decided to apply there. Okay, so let's go into the application process for the different fashion schools. I found the application processes to be quite similar across all of them. I think it's sort of the standard application process for most places. You know, you have like a written personal statement and a portfolio of your work, and if you get accepted to the next level, there was an interview. And I remember when I interviewed at the different places I applied, I liked it and I was really interested in the course. But when I had my interview at Condé Nast, it just sort of clicked, and I knew that's where I wanted to be. In terms of location, it was in the middle of Soho, and all the courses that they covered and all the tutors and sort of their backgrounds as well, I just knew it was sort of the right place for me. So yeah, I decided to go for it and accept the offer when I got the offer from Condé Nast. The first day of school. So the first day I was so nervous. I think I arrived like 45 minutes earlier than we were expected to get there. So I sort of stayed in the cafe like 2 doors away, kind of waiting and killing time. And I remember coming in and just looking around, and everyone was dressed so nicely, and it's sort of the kind of people you'd expect that would go to fashion school. They all look nice and they all came from different backgrounds and things like that. And I was so nervous, but everyone was so nice. And I think there's this weird misconception about the fashion industry that it's sort of mean and snobby and things like that. And I mean, it can be, but generally, you know, people are really nice and people were so lovely, and I absolutely loved it there. Now onto the pros and cons of fashion school in general, and specifically the fashion school that I went to, Condé Nast. So one of the biggest pros in terms of my course was that, like I said, it allowed us to explore loads of different elements of the fashion industry. So I went in thinking I wanted to go into possibly fashion design, but I came out realizing that I actually really enjoy the commercial side of fashion, and I also came out realizing I did not enjoy fashion journalism at all. I realized that I like managing talent and I'd love to go into luxury brand management. Second pro was the range of guest speakers. So throughout the year we had loads of guest speakers and industry experts. We had, you know, people like Henry Holland, we had Stephen Quinn, who's like the publishing director at Vogue, we had Alexander Shulman, we had so many different people come in to sort of talk about the experiences and how they got to where they were. And we also had a lot of guest lectures that were, you know, currently working in the industry. So I remember we had someone from a PR agency come in and do a lecture. And yeah, so it was great to have just the range of lecturers and guest speakers, and it kind of helped with the experience. Another pro is that I got to go to loads of exhibitions and fashion shows, which, you know, it was amazing to get to go to Fashion Week. Another good thing was that I learned a lot of additional skills that would be beneficial regardless of what industry you go into. So I learned how to use all the Adobe softwares, I learned how to use Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, things like that. I also learned to make videos and edit videos. And those are really great skills that I feel have been beneficial in everything I've done since then. So the final pro, I would say, is the career support you get. So we got a lot of amazing career support. We had like weekly meetings with a career counselor, and she really helped us building our CV, kind of discovering what we wanted to do and where we wanted to go. And this school is really good with sending, you know, updates on jobs and internships and things like that, even after you've left. I remember my first and second jobs were through the school. So far I think it sounds really great, and there's so many benefits of going to fashion school if you want to work in the fashion industry. But I would say there are, you know, one or two cons, and one especially, this one's actually related to Condé Nast, or any school that kind of covers a broad range of subjects. For me, it was beneficial because it meant that I got to experience lots of different things and find where my fit was. But if you know exactly what your fit is and where you want to go, all the topics are covered very broadly, but you don't actually go in depth in any of them. So, you know, if you're interested in journalism, it might not be the best thing because we spent maybe half a term or a term on it, and, you know, you don't go as in-depth as you might like. The second thing is it can be very pricey. Fashion school can be very expensive, and it might seem like it's not worth it. For me, I definitely thought it was, but I feel like you need to sort of weigh your options up and decide whether that price tag is for you. Overall, it's a great experience, and I think anybody who's trying to get a job or trying to work in the fashion industry should definitely go to fashion school. But then it's not the only way to get there. There's so many other ways, and, you know, whilst working I met a lot of people who came up through lots of different avenues. So it's definitely not the only way to get to where you want to be, but it definitely does help you sort of get your foot in the door and sort of understand the inner workings of the fashion industry. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please let me know if that was useful for any of you, or if you found that interesting. If you'd also like me to cover any sort of other topics or go into depth on something in particular, let me know. I've done a blog post on this already, so that covers it in more depth. Yeah, so give me a thumbs up if you like these kind of videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.